I'm Scott. I'm a Quiet Place fan.
Hi, I'm Senthil, and I'm a Bird Box fan.
So the two of us have decided, since we disagree, we're going to start watching as many horror movies as we can and come up with a new way of rate them. Come join us. Hey, good afternoon, Synthil. It's good to see you again.
Good afternoon, good to see you too. Looking forward to today's conversation.
I think that's an understatement. Finding this film was a treasure. I'm not lying when I say out of the micro budget films that we've seen so far, I think you said it best. You called it what?
Batshit insane. It's. I would say this is the most aggressively off the wall movie we have reviewed so far.
I agree, and I thought that Killer Rack was way, way, way up there. No, this one took it. I mean, to an insane new level, right? So the movie that we're going to be talking about with you tonight, it's called The Call Girl of Cthulhu. And it is a priceless gem if you have not seen it. Now, the film was distributed back in 2014. And Synthil, I've researched the heck out of this trying to find a budget. And the only thing I can find is a Kickstarter campaign that they did, and they raised $27,000. I think it was $27,147. If they pulled this off for $27,000, I'm flipping blown away.
It's the most impressive practical effects I think I've seen in any of the low budget movies we've seen so far. That's kind of what I did too, and it appears that the director has another low budget movie under his belt and had refined his approach. I have no idea how they pulled off everything that we saw in the movie, but I was impressed.
I was too. Now, the director is Chris LaMartina, and I'm telling you, we have to get this guy on the show just because this, like you said, is so batshit insane. And the other thing I loved about this film, there are tons of H.P. Lovecraft Easter eggs throughout the film. It's a joy. If you're an H.P. Lovecraft film, this is an absolute joy to watch just to try to find all the little Easter eggs that they put into this thing.
Yeah, when I first saw the movie, that was the first thing that went through my head. How is Chris inspired by Lovecraftian horror in this movie? And if you pay attention, you start picking up the subtle references. But you don't have to have any background in Lovecraft to be able to appreciate just how batshit this is. It is definitely, I think we could say, about as over the top as I can't even possibly describe how over the top it is, and I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I did too. And so this film has violence, it has gore, and it has sex and nudity. I mean, it's done in a way.
You know what this reminds me of? The Special, where there's sex involved, but at no point is it arousing sex of any kind.
No, not at all.
It's horrific sex.
It beyond horrific sex. The question I have for you is, did you expect it to turn the way that it turned during the movie? I did not see this.
No, not at all. The ending was about what I expected, but the direction that the movie took, and trying to determine what was going to happen to the characters,
yes,
not at all. I didn't predict where he was going to go. He went off the rails not in a necessarily bad way, because it's so over the top. I can see how not all viewers may appreciate it, but if you're a true horror fan, I think you'd love this.
I think so too. Now, my brother-in-law, I convinced him to see it.
What do you think?
He did not. He was like, "What the hell did you make me watch?"
I'll just reference a giant mutant talking penis, and if that's for you, if that sounds intriguing, I would say go check out the movie. I loved it.
I mean, there's so much. I mean, baby squids, baby Cthulhu's. I mean, I don't even know how to tell everybody that's watching this how over the top they take this film. The other thing I thought was really well done, Sybil, was the acting. And look, it was obviously, it like we've talked about, these micro budget horror films. You're not going to get top A-list actors. The thing is, I really felt like everybody in this film was in it to win it, right? So they took it so over the top. Every actor and actress just went over the top to make this film as genuinely as bizarre as you could possibly get this film to be.
And we talked about two types of low budget horror. This is not in the Velocipaster category of horror.
No.
It's on the other end of the scale, and the performers did a pretty good job of selling the story, but they were so over the top. I would say that this is a squirm worthy movie. There were scenes in there that I was not comfortable watching, and not necessarily in a bad way, but horror is supposed to make you feel uncomfortable, and Chris definitely achieved that.
Yeah, I thought that, again, I keep going back to how much I just enjoyed sitting and watching this film and saying there's no way that he can take this one step higher, only to be 5 seconds later grabbing the next rung up on the ladder and going, okay, he can't top this, next rung up the ladder. The whole use of, I mean, like this, the Cthulhu cult, and the branding, basically this mark that they're looking for. And I don't want to give too much away, but seriously, I mean, that alone is so funny that they're looking for this Cthulhu mark, right? And those who don't have it, this bad. And I love the bad guy. I love the villain in the film.
The villain does a good job. If you had to summarize we've talked about emotional reactions to this. I had a range of them. How would you describe your reactions?
So for me, it was one of those movies that I stepped into going, this is going to be horrible. It's going to be a joke, right? And I kind of step into every micro budget film that I'm watching with this idea that, it's going to be a C movie. It's not even going to be a B movie. I don't step into it thinking I'm going to enjoy it. And for me, Senthil, there's a big reason for that is that you walk into something, you go, oh, this is going to be great. And it turns out horrible. And it actually becomes worse than it really was. Call Girl of Cthulhu, I saw this and I went, this is not going to be great. I mean, come on. A call girl, hooker of Cthulhu, right? This isn't going to be great. Emotionally, when I stepped into this film, I was not engaged at all. About 10 minutes into this movie, I was engaged. Like you said, there were parts of this film that I could have seen myself closing my eyes for it and going, whoa, we've gone too far. The giant penis, is, again, they were just these things that brought it up. And by the end of it, I'm not joking. Most times by the end of a micro horror film, I'm really glad it's over. You just kind of go, okay, it's done and it's over. This was one of those ones, if it had lasted another 10 to 15 minutes, I wouldn't have been depressed. I thought it was that good.
That's a great observation. And we've talked about some movies, just the length is longer than is manageable. But I did not have that reaction because, as you noted, every single scene I can't believe he just did that.
Yeah.
I cannot believe he just did that. And then he keeps upping it. I think I have to wonder if he's intentionally challenged the viewer to watch all the way through.
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he is. That's why I want to talk with the director, because I want to find out, when they did this, were they really just trying to get you to shut it off at a certain point, right? Can I take you to this level and you're willing to go there? Can I take you to this level and you're willing to go there? Senthil, I'm actually shocked that I'm on IMDb reading that right now, looking at this. It's only got a 4.6. And there are movies like Bad Ben. I don't know if you've seen that. That's a micro budget film, right? That this guy did. That's up in the fives. I think it's a 5.6. I've watched almost all of the Bad Ben films, and look, they're not horrible, but they're not great. The first one was actually pretty well done. This is better than Bad Ben, and it's sitting at a 4.6, and it just makes me go, this is why I can't stand rating systems.
Yeah, I think this confirms for me that the rating system, the review system is broken, and that we need to find a new way, because I would definitely rate this higher than what I saw in IMDb. I would rate this higher than, until you looked at some of the indie movie reviews for this movie, you didn't really see the appreciation for it. We can definitely see that this is not a mainstream audience movie.
No.
It's not a mainstream movie that a mainstream critic is going to remotely appreciate. But us horror fans would love it, I think.
You see, Cynthia, and this is where I think that the rating systems do a disservice to these new directors, new producers, cast and crew when you're talking on a micro budget, because you're being ranked with A Quiet Place 2. You're being ranked with Hereditary and Midsummer, where these guys have massive budgets, right? These guys aren't sitting on $20,000 or 30,000, or even like Rubber, which was $750,000, right?
Yep.
They're sitting on these huge budgets, big actors, big CGI, and these rating services do them a disservice. That's why I've really enjoyed doing these with you, is because frankly, nobody is, in my opinion, giving these films a review based on, come on, just the sheer idea of what horror and fun is, right? This movie is not A Quiet Place 2.
No, you can't.
But I'm going to tell you that 80% of the people who watch it aren't going to be disappointed.
I would agree, and from a budgetary point of view, if you were to if this movie had even a Blumhouse type of budget in the low millions, he could not have gotten away with 80% of what he put in that movie.
No, not at all, Cynthia. Not at all. That's why I got to meet with this director. I got to talk with this director.
And I'm curious if services like Shudder. Amazon is a little easier, as we discovered, to get on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
But I'm curious if a movie like this could be picked up by Shudder. And if it has an avenue for visibility, Amazon's a good way, as we discovered, the directors get on.
1 hour and 32 minutes of goodness. You have to walk in with the idea. It's called The Call Girl of Cthulhu. And just be aware, right, when you're walking into it. But I would suggest this to anybody. If anybody said, hey, what's a great micro budget horror film to watch? I would have no problem pointing somebody to this film.
I think I can't. There's no way Babs, my wife, is going to watch this and agree to sleep in the same bedroom with me the same night.
You're into tentacle porn. You're not going to go wrong with The Call Girl of Cthulhu.
It's a good observation. There is tentacle porn in here, but not in the pornographic sense, but more in the horrific sense. Nothing we've seen in the anime. Final thoughts?
My final thoughts on this is, again, as we've said, for a micro budget film, this was really well done. It was a hell of a lot of fun to watch. It was not, in my mind at all, 1 hour and 30 minutes wasted. If he had added an extra 10 minutes or here or there, I wouldn't have mind sitting through another 10 minutes. Hey, Cynthia, hey, I want to thank you again for another really great episode this week, and we'll talk again here soon.
We'll talk next time. See you, Scott.
All right.